Hey everyone, this is Matt with FlightTrajectory.com. For the second half of this lesson, I'm going to show you how to use some of the air traffic control functions in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2004. I'm having some issues with Fraps right now, so instead of showing you a video screenshot of what I'm doing, I'm just have some still shots here of the Flight Simulator 2004 menu. So here's the main menu for Create a Flight. A couple of things you want to do first. Check the box that says Start Flight with ATC window open, and then we're going to come over to the Flight Planner and click that box. For the very top for your departure, click the Select button, and we're going to search for South Bend Regional Airport. The identifier for that is KSBN. And then at the very bottom left corner, there's runway starting position. We're going to select parking 3, gate small, then click OK. Then you're going to choose your destination airport. That's the Kalamazoo Battle Creek International Airport. Flight plan type is going to be VFR, and the routing is going to be direct GPS. Once we've done that, in box 5, there's the Find Route button. We're going to click that, and it'll show this window here. You can select your cruising altitude for this flight. It's going to be 3,500 feet. And once you've done that, click OK down at the bottom, and it'll ask you to save the flight. And then it'll pop up with a question asking you if you want Flight Simulator to move your aircraft to the departure airport on the flight plan, and you want to select yes. So then from there, you're going to go back to the main menu for Create a Flight, and everything should be set in there. I changed for this one, I changed the tail number on the plane to November 123 Alpha Bravo to match with everything else that we were doing in the previous lesson, and click Fly Now. Okay, so here we are on the ramp at South Bend, and before I tune the ATIS or ground, I want to check my GPS real quick. It's down here, and just want to make sure that the flight plan is actually in there, which it is. I'll do another lesson at some point in time on some basic functions of the GPS here, but right now we're on the nav page, and it's page 1 of 2. Basically the nav chapter, page 1 of 2. I'm going to go to page 2 of 2 just to show me the north-up orientation of it. So you can see there's South Bend, there's Kalamazoo, there's a magenta line there, so the flight plan is in the GPS, which is what I want. Now, at that point in time, I can go ahead and close this. And to open the air traffic control window, if it's not already open, it's the tilde, which is to the left of the 1. At least I think that's what it's called. But yeah, it's the button left of the 1. And the first thing we want to do is tune the ATIS, so that's option number 2.
South Bend Airport Information Delta 2007 Zulu. Wind calm. Visibility greater than 20 miles. Sky conditions, view clouds at 5,700. Temperature 15, dew point 5. Altimeter 2992. ILS, runway 9er right and visual, runway 9er left in use. Landing and departing, runway 9er right and runway 9er left. VFR aircraft say direction of flight. All aircraft bring back hold short instructions. Advise controller on initial contact, you have Delta.
Okay,
South Bend
so
Airport
information Delta, and we're going to tune South Bend ground now. So it's information Delta, so on our initial contact with air traffic control, remember that we're going to tell them who we are, where we are, and what we want, and then on the initial one with information Delta. So I want number 4. We're going to do request taxi and depart to the north. Actually, before I do that, real quick note, the altimeter 29902 that was in the ATIS, you adjust that with this little knob here on the altimeter, and it's defaulted to 29.92, so we really shouldn't have to mess with it right now. But just so you know, that's the barometric pressure outside, and so we always set the altimeter to the altimeter setting that was in the ATIS. So if it was 29.94, we're going to bump it up a little, but it's 29.92, and that's where it was already set at. Alright, so option number 4, we're going to contact South Bend ground.
South Bend ground, Cessna, November 123 Alpha Bravo with Delta. Request taxi for takeoff, north, departure. Cessna, November 123 Alpha Bravo, taxi to and hold short of runway 9er, right via taxiway Bravo Bravo 4. Contact tower on 118.9er when ready.
Okay, and we want to acknowledge the taxi clearance, so option number 1.
Taxiing Old Short, runway 9er, right via taxiway Bravo, Bravo 4, Cessna, November 123, Alpha Bravo.
Okay, I'm going to release the parking brake, and we're just going to spin around, do a 180-degree turn around to the north. So we're facing the taxiways. And this is Bravo here that I'm making a left turn onto. And we can turn on progressive taxi option 3, which will just show us a pink line of how to get there basically. I'm just going to go ahead and join up on the taxiway. There's our little pink line, so we can just follow that the rest of the way to the runway. One other thing I want to bring up before we get there is that we're actually going to need to cross runway 36 to get to runway 9 right. And when this is Flight Simulator 2004 that I'm using, and when this game was made at the time, when air traffic control gave you a taxi clearance, you were automatically cleared to cross all runways that were leading up to the runway that we were cleared to. So we were cleared to runway 9 right, and we would automatically be cleared to cross runway 36 because our taxi clearance was to taxi to runway 9 right via Bravo, Bravo 4, and that takes us across 36. However, that's not the case anymore. Now you have to get a taxi clearance to cross all runways. So the controller would have given us a taxi clearance like taxi to runway 9 right via Bravo, Bravo 4, cross runway 36. So we are not allowed to cross unless we hear the specific words cleared to cross runway 36. Since the game isn't set up for that, I'm going to go ahead and cross anyways, because like I said, when this game was made, you were allowed to cross all runways leading up to the runway you were cleared to. My joystick's a little twitchy, taxiing like a drunk person. And here we are, Bravo 4 and runway 9 right. I'm going to go ahead and set the parking brake. And at this point in time, we want to tune the tower on 118.9, so option 1. And option number 3 requests takeoff clearance VFR from South Bend Tower.
South Bend Tower, Cessna, November 123, Alpha Bravo, ready for north departure at runway 9er right. Cessna, November 123, Alpha Bravo, cleared for takeoff. Runway 9er right, departure to the north approved.
And we want to acknowledge
Cleared
it.
for takeoff. Runway 9er right. Cessna, November 123, Alpha Bravo.
And release the parking brake. I'm going to get rid of the ATC window. And once we're lined up, add full power. And 60 knots, we're going to rotate. and they approved us for a north departure, so rule of thumb is you fly runway heading until about 500 feet, and then you make your turnout. So that would put us at about 1,300 feet. Yeah, about 1,300 feet. We'll start our turnoff to the northeast. Okay, so 1,300 feet, we're going to start turning to about a 040 heading to take us to Kalamazoo. And basically, Tower is going to end up switching us to departure. Normally they do it about now or shortly thereafter. But as we get a little farther away, they'll give us the okay to switch off to the next frequency. And I'm actually going to speed up the simulation a little just to make it go a little faster. Pull my GPS just to make sure I'm on track. Looks good. Seems that 040 heading is working pretty good.
Cessna 3 Alpha Bravo, you are leaving my airspace. Frequency change approved.
Okay, so let me just slow down the simulation again back to normal speed. So we're given the okay to switch, and we want to do option 1, tune South Bend departure on 118.55. And at this point in time, we would call them up and just tell them that, you know, we're VFR to Kalamazoo. They would already know that because Tower's talking to them anyways. And they would just basically give us flight following. But at this point in time, there's nothing that we can do. We don't want the Class C airspace transition. That's when you're going into the airspace, not out of it. So we're just going to wait until it gives us the option for flight following. And we're going to select option 1, request flight
South Bend
following.
departure, Cessna November 123 Alpha Bravo. This type, Cessna Skyhawk 2 miles north of 31 Mike India. Request flight following. Cessna November 123 Alpha Bravo, South Bend departure, squawk 6656.
Okay, we want to acknowledge that squawk code. I'm going to bring up the radio stack to show you, and then option 1.
Squawk 6656. Cessna 3 Alpha Bravo. Cessna 3 Alpha Bravo, radar contact 3 miles north of 31 Mike India, 3,500. Current altimeter 2992. Cessna 6906. Contact Chicago Center on.
Okay, real quick, I'm just going to pause it there. So they gave us a squawk code 6656. That's down here in the transponder. When we put that code into the transponder, it basically allows us to pop up on air traffic control's radar. So they'll give you a code based on, you know, whatever your flight is. You know, the next flight that they give will probably be 6657 or something like that. So that was the one thing. So we put in the squawk code, we acknowledge the squawk, we say it back to them, and then now it wants us to acknowledge radar contact, which that's one of those things that's actually kind of optional, that you don't need to read back the altimeter setting or the radar contact, but since the option's there, we're going to go ahead and do it. So I'm going to unpause.
127.55. 127.55. Cessna 6906.
And option 1.
Copy. Cessna 3 Alpha Bravo. South Bend approach. Cessna November 1066.
Okay, I'm going to hide the radio stack.
Cessna November 10664. South Bend approach.
Yes, looks like we're still good. We're just outside of South Bend's airspace. I'm going to speed up the simulation again. And basically, we'll stay with South Bend until they either cancel our flight following or they switch us off to another frequency. Normally what would happen on a flight from South Bend to Kalamazoo, we'd end up with Chicago Center for a little bit and then on the South Bend approach. Kalamazoo approach. And also remember, as we get closer to Kalamazoo, we're going to need to pull up the ATIS in Kalamazoo before we contact them. Okay, I've just skipped us ahead a little bit, so we're closer to Kalamazoo. It's in sight just off of our nose. The radio stack pulled up. We're still on with South Bend approach. Like I said, we would have been with Chicago Center, and then they would have switched us to Kalamazoo approach, but that wasn't the case for the simulator. Anyhow, before we talk to Kalamazoo approach, we need to get their ATIS. The frequency for that is 127.25. And I have it down here in COM 2, so you dial it in on the standby side, flop the channel over here to the active in COM 2. And then to listen on it, up here at the top of your radio stack is your audio panel. So that makes the selection of what you're listening and transmitting on. So for right now, we're listening to COM 1, that would be COM 2, and then both. And that's actually what we want to do, because we can't switch off of the frequency 118.55 until air traffic control tells us to. If they're talking to you, you can't just disappear off the frequency, because if they need to get a hold of you, that's the frequency they're calling you on. So that's why we have two radios, and then for COM 2, that's what we're going to use to listen to the ATIS. So before I contact Kalamazoo approach, I'm going to unpause it here, and you can see the airport is just off here, off of our nose. And I'm going to click the both button to hear the ATIS.
Runway 35, landing and departing runway 35. If our aircraft is in direction of flight, all aircraft will be back on short instructions. Advise controller on initial contact set Zulu.
Okay, unselect both, and we're going to tune Kalamazoo approach on 121.2. It's option 1, and we're going to request, so that's up here in COM 1 in the active, and we want to request flight following. I'm going to start turning toward the runway as well.
Cessna, Skyhawk, 2 miles east of Fort Mike, India 4, request flight following. Cessna, November 123, Alpha Bravo, Kalamazoo approach, squawk 6554.
So there's that squawk code we were talking about here. It's going to go in the transponder, so I want to acknowledge that.
554, Cessna 3 Alpha Bravo. Cessna 3 Alpha Bravo, radar contact 3 miles east of Fort Mike, India 4, 3200, altimeter 29902.
And acknowledge radar contact. Okay, this is runway 35 up here, so we're going to be landing this way. I've started the descent already. At this point in time, we would say that the airport's in sight, and they would switch us off to Kalamazoo Tower. So I'm going to have to cheat the system a little bit and look up the nearest airport list, number 3. Kalamazoo is option 4, and we're going to tune the tower now. So they would normally have done this already. Remember, we can't switch until they tell us to, so let's just pretend that approach told us to switch to Kalamazoo Tower. And we're going to request a full stop landing.
Kalamazoo Tower, Cessna, November 123, Alpha Bravo, is 4 miles southwest with Zulu to land. Cessna, November 123, Alpha Bravo to Kalamazoo Tower. Flight left, base runway 35, altimeter 29902. Cessna 3 Alpha Bravo cleared to land, runway 35.
Okay, we're going to acknowledge the landing clearance.
Runway 35, Cessna 3 Alpha Bravo.
And I'm going to go flaps 20. Actually, I made a big mistake. I selected flaps before my airspeed was in the wide arc. We'll cover that in another lesson, but that's your flap arc. So if you're outside of that, don't be selecting flaps. And we'll go full flaps. I'm flying on my keyboard right now because my joystick was so twitchy that I couldn't control it, so I'm just making keyboard controls. It's a little more difficult. Start a shallow turn toward final. Good approach speed is about 60 to 70 knots or so. a little too shallow. Add a little power. This is going to be a terrible landing, I can tell you right now. Start backing off on the power. Pull back and flare. That wasn't so bad. Okay, the general aviation parking is off to the left.
Alpha Bravo, turn next taxiway.
The brakes. And he told us to turn left here at this next taxiway. That was actually the
Cessna 3
reverse.
Alpha
I
Bravo,
spun. Oops.
contact ground on 121.9er.
Going to acknowledge the handoff.
121.9er. Cessna 3 Alpha Bravo.
And once I'm clear of the runway, I'm just going to stop here, tune ground real quick, and request taxi to parking.
Cessna November 123 Alpha Bravo, taxi to parking. Cessna November 123 Alpha Bravo, taxi to general aviation parking via taxiway Bravo 3 Bravo Foxtrot Charlie.
Okay, we're going to acknowledge it.
Taxiing to general aviation parking using taxiway Bravo 3 Bravo Foxtrot Charlie. Cessna November 123 Alpha Bravo.
And I'm going to turn on progressive taxi so I can see where I'm going. Make a right turn here onto Bravo. And from here, it's pretty much self-explanatory. Well, there you have it, talking to air traffic control in a nutshell, and using it in Flight Simulator 2004. Thanks for watching, guys, and I know at the end the video gets a little bit crappy. I had a lot of issues with my video capture software, so I apologize for that. But thanks for watching nonetheless, and stay tuned. I'm going to be bringing out some more videos this month and throughout February. Thanks.